Hello everyone, and welcome to another online presentation from Webster University Libraries. Today we're going to do a brief introduction to doing research in the field of education. I'll be your presenter today. My name is Elliot Bowden. I'm the subject librarian for the School of Education and also for the Department of International Languages and Cultures. You can reach me at any time with questions about your research or using the library. My email address is right there on the screen. It's my name, Elliot Bowden, and then 90 at webster.edu. There's two things that are most important when doing library research, and I've already mentioned the first one, which is to ask for help. We generally say there's a 20-minute rule in that if you can't figure it out or find what you're looking for in 20 minutes, that's about a good time to get in touch with a librarian. So I'm happy to help you one-on-one, but I do work a normal work day, so I'm not always available. If you're ever doing your research or your homework on the evenings or on the weekends, I might not be around, but that's why we have our research desk, which is staffed by research librarians who are available to help you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can call the research desk at either of the two numbers there on the screen, and then you can also email. We tend to get back to you by email within a day, usually about 24 hours. And then also on that page I have linked, the libanswers.webster.edu, that's where you can get to our chat box. So the research librarians are here at the desk to help you while the library is open, but then even if you need help in the middle of the night, we have librarians who can monitor the chat even though the library building itself is closed. So that chat is always there available to you to get help with your research. So any time of day or night, we are here to help you. So. And then if you email me, I'm happy to get back to you, and sometimes maybe we can set up a in-person appointment or phone call if we want to talk out a more complicated research question. And the second part of doing research well is starting research early. Researching at the last minute is often more difficult because research, which we librarians love, is a process of discovery and waiting until the last minute. You don't know what you're going to find always, so allowing time enough for that unexpected questions to come up and to be answered in your research is always important. But no matter where you are in your research process, I'm going to be there to help you. So what I'd like to talk about in the next few minutes of this video are a couple of the main things you'll be doing when you do research in education. And that is finding scholarly research articles in ERIC, which is the primary database that I'll recommend for you when you're doing general education research. We do have a couple more specialized education databases, and I will point those out to you on our website. I'll show you how to search in more than one database. ERIC is always my place to start, but then I add a few more. I'll show you how to find and save an article for later. But first, I want to show you our library website and also point out some of our education research guides. So before you call for help, you might find some information that we already have on the website could answer your question. Let me swap my screen. Okay, so starting in January of 2018, this is going to be our new Webster University Library website. It's just library.webster.edu. We'll have a main search box here on the first page of the site, and this is going to be really helpful for just jumping into research right away. You can go ahead and search multiple databases right here with this Articles tab. ERIC is one of these 9 popular databases that is searched by the articles. So if you know ERIC pretty well and you know that's what you want to search, you could start your research right here in the Articles tab. I did say I wanted to point out our research guides. So these are pages that are made by our different librarians that help point out more specialized research that you might not find just typing in a search in that Articles tab, for example. And these are often very specific to individual courses or programs. So you could do a search for education and come up with the different education guides that we have. So these are individual pages, but let's look at all the guides for education. So this is the general education page. So there I am. And I have 15 guides that I've made for education. And so some of these might be helpful to you, others might not. Some you can see are for specific classes, EdTech 5460. Some are about the curriculum collection as part of our collection. Finding tests might be interesting to some of you. Also, teaching resources for faculty has some good information for professional development and how to be a better teacher. A general guide that I like to point everyone to is just Education at Webster University Library. And you can get to this just by typing in libguides.webster.edu/education. And this is sort of the general guide for all of the education programs. So it covers how to find articles in education, how to find books, and perhaps I think most importantly on this guide, it has some specialized information on statistics for education here in the state of Missouri, but also in the United States and internationally. So these are some good resources that you might not find on your own. The library subscribes to and has a lot of good academic resources for you, but there's plenty of excellent information that's available from other organizations out there on the web. And so I've tried to put that together here in a convenient place. For those of you interested in education law or special education law, law research is a little bit different. We use a different database for that. LexisNexis is the main database with legal cases, and how to do legal research is a little different. So I put some law resources on here as well as some reference books about law as well. So, but those are the research guides. That's kind of helpful to know as well before you begin your research. But I said I'd show you how to search ERIC, so I'm actually going to go. I'm not going to do the articles way. I'm going to go to Articles and Databases. And this page, you can find the database alphabetically. In this case, we know we want ERIC, but let's pretend you didn't know that up till now. So how would you start doing education research? Education has its own section of databases here. Look a little familiar? There I am again. Excuse me. So just like I have my education libguides, I have my education databases that we subscribe to on this page. The best bets are up top, and I'm actually going to edit this so I have too many best bets on this page. They're all good bets, but there's really only one or two best bets, and those would be mainly ERIC, Educator's Reference, and Explora, General Research, and eBooks would be the best bets. The others are more specialized, as you can see, for middle or high school or elementary school. So there's ERIC. There's another way to get there. You will have to log in with your last name and your Webster ID, which can be found on your student ID card or in Connections if you don't have a physical ID card. But once we're in ERIC, this is the general search interface for a lot of databases we have that are provided by EBSCO. And so we can do our research here. I usually like to start small and expand my search. So let's say we were looking for something like homeschooling, and we wanted to know its effectiveness. This is a very broad search. Okay, so we've got 93 different articles of one kind or another that come back. This is how I would basically start researching in ERIC. 93 results are a lot to look through, so a few quick ways you could narrow down your search would be on the left side here where you've got Refine. Usually I like to look at more recent articles. Not that nothing interesting happened in 1978, but maybe we've had more interesting research since then. Let's try 10 years back. So, okay, 48, that's better. We can also limit by source type. So 15 of these results are academic journals, and it looks like those are the ones that came up first. So I'm going to limit to journals. So now we've got 15 scholarly articles about homeschooling. And if I wanted to limit 15, I could probably scroll through 15 results and decide if I wanted to use these articles in my research. Usually what I would do is read the title. If that sounded interesting, you can read the abstract, which is a summary of the article, by hovering over this magnifying glass icon and then reading the abstract. So before I decide to save or print an article, if the title sounds good, and then if reading the abstract makes me believe that this article is relevant to my interests or my research, that's when usually I would add the article and then save it for later. So another way to limit if we had even more results still would be to use these subject boxes here. So sometimes I said I like to start kind of broad with homeschooling and effectiveness. It's not a very specific search. Your research is more likely to have a more focused thesis to prove. The subjects were basically like topics that all of our search results that we're looking at right now are about. So of these 15 articles, 13 of them have been tagged as being about homeschooling. This is not a precise science. I mean, as you can tell, if we've got 15 homeschooling results and only 13 are about homeschooling, there isn't a perfect match. But sometimes these can really help you find other aspects of a topic that maybe you didn't anticipate. And this is sort of the discovery part of research. So I had typed in effectiveness. Educational quality isn't something I would have thought of on my own. Maybe I want to look at just these 3 articles, or maybe I'll, as I continue researching, change my search to homeschooling and educational quality, or homeschooling and quality instead of effectiveness. So you can sometimes get good search term ideas from these results. Academic achievement, another one, achievement, quality, similar ideas. So let's see what we get. So we're down now to 4 articles that are in line with my original search of homeschooling and effectiveness and the source or the subjects of educational quality and academic achievement. So that's how I would narrow my search down really fast. For these articles, this is a pretty good variety. So to get the full text of the article to read it, many articles will have this PDF full text icon, which means we subscribe to it. You just have to click to see the whole article as it originally appeared, and then you can save and download it to your computer. You can print it, however you want to save it for your research. Other articles don't always have the PDF full text. This one says it has linked full text. We're going to see what happens when I click on that. Okay, so it's the full text just in a different format. It's linked to the publisher's website. No big deal. You can still download and save it to your computer or print it. I'm sorry about that. Some won't have the full text. It'll say check article linker. So this means for this article about African American homeschooling and the quest for quality education, it's not in ERIC, but maybe we have it in a different database. So ERIC just has a record of this article. So if you ever see article linker, click it to see what happens. You might find that the article will open up just in a different database that we didn't search. Or you'll get this results page, which says, well, no, we have a record for the article existing, but Webster doesn't subscribe to any of the resources where it's published. In this case, you would just click the request button, fill in a little bit of information, and then we'd send a request to other libraries to get you an electronic copy of the article. Usually only takes 1 to 3 days at the most. So an article request done this way can come pretty quickly, which is another good reason to start your research early, because sometimes you'll find really excellent articles that you'll really want to read, and we'll have to request them for you. So that's how you find articles in ERIC, and that's how you would save them. Something else you can do is you can add articles to a folder. Sometimes I like to do this as I search as I come across articles, I'll just kind of click this folder button, which bookmarks them for later. So up in the folder, that's where all of the articles that you've clicked have been saved. Now this will disappear when you close the browser, so usually as I'm researching I will bookmark things, and then before I'm done I will go to this folder and do like a last review of which articles do I really want, which ones don't I want. One thing you can also do is email the articles to yourself instead of saving them one by one, and this email button will also let you get the citation. So just type in your email and it's going to include the documents where it's possible, and then you can choose your citation. For education, we'll use APA, and then you'll get the articles in your email, which is really handy. I did say that I'd show you how to add other databases since we're just looking in ERIC. If you're in ERIC, you can go to this Choose Databases button, and here you can search any database that's provided by this publisher, EBSCO, because they all share this interface. If I were adding a database, there's a couple ones I would focus on for education. Depending on your topic, I find SocIndex, which is a sociology database, or PsycArticles, which is psychology, to be very helpful because there's a lot of crossover between education and things that come up in psychology, like learning theory, cognitive theory, that sort of thing. And in sociology, right? Education doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's connected to our lives, our families, everything that goes on in our life. Another one is, speaking of families, Family and Society Studies Worldwide. These are kind of the three, when I expand a search from ERIC to more databases, those are sort of my three go-tos to get more results. So we'll do that search again. A mild gain. So we had, I think it was 93 or some odd articles just in ERIC, and by adding those databases now we have 100. So we're seeing 7 more articles that we didn't find before. And depending on your topic, this, I mean, you could see many more things by expanding your search in this way. Excuse me. So let's go back to the library website. And before we close this short training video, I did want to mention another resource which you may or may not know about, called Google Scholar. So if you go to scholar.google.com, you can search for research articles in Google. And if you're doing it at Webster, it will find the articles that we have access to. And if you're at home, you can set that up. So let's try homeschooling effectiveness. I know you love Google because I love it too, but I'm sure you'll find that it's not as precise as the other database. You don't have as much control over your search. So we've got like 3,900 articles about homeschooling, some of which may or may not be relevant. They're not all articles, actually. Some are books. So there's no way in Google Scholar to limit just to academic articles like I could before, and I don't know why, but you're never really going to want just patents. So where possible, over on the right, it's going to link to the articles. It looks like this one from ed.gov is probably available for free from the government. Sometimes you'll see this full text at Webster Eden. So if you've connected your Google Scholar to Webster, it will know that you're a Webster student, and it will be able to take you through our databases right to an article. So this is another way of searching for an article that we have or might have to request. Not always perfect, but the way you do that is in your Google settings. You have to go to Library Links, and I already have it checked here, but if you're at home, just type in Webster University, and it will find Webster, and then just check the box for Webster and save your settings, and so it will know to connect you to Webster. And so that's it. That was my brief introduction to education research. I hope this has been helpful to you as you start your research in education. I would just like to say Thanks for watching, and please reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm always happy to help. Thanks.